Two students, two different paths, one journey, one main goal: to use creation as an extension of one's true inner self in order to entertain, enlighten, and inform the masses through one's own creative heart and vision. That's what the journey is all about. To leave your mark. To not only leave an impression on your own generation, but to leave an everlasting impression on the generations that will come to follow. These are the student diaries. After my first semester at Mott, I found myself in academic probation. I really approached the semester in an immature fashion, and I really found myself in a bad place academically. I found out that my older cousin was found dead outside his apartment in a ditch. I completely shut down, and I didn't officially drop out of college, but I dropped out of college. By the time I finally get back, made the discovery that my grandfather had stage 4 lung cancer. He was always in my ear about going back to school, and I eventually went back, and I think it was winter of 2016. Yep, it was winter of 2016. I went back. Second, maybe third day into the semester, my godmom died from her breast cancer, and this put me in the shutdown mode for the whole semester. Dealing with the pain that I felt from my godmother passing away, it just felt like too much too soon. After my grandfather died, I worked at Home Depot for a couple of years. A couple of good years that reformed me as a man. Midway through that second year, I said to myself, hey, why not go back to Mott? Finish what you started.
Hello. No time, no see. So, I wanted to have a video up for you guys this week, but it looks like it's not going to happen.
I'm sitting in pain for about 15, 16 hours. Then I'll say it was about close to midnight by the time I decided to ask my father to take me to the hospital. So, get to the hospital. I'm in the ER. It's about 4 in the morning. And that's when they come in and tell me that I had appendicitis. My appendix had been leaking for about a week and a half, and it's by the graces of God that the infection didn't kill me. Now that I'm back in school, I'm fully aware of the uphill battle that awaits me. But I'm not really too worried about that, because as long as the sun shines bright in the sky, I'm always going to reach for that brightest star. There's nothing that I can't come back from. This journey's been real harsh on me, but it's also been real good to me. It's made me stronger in ways that you can't possibly imagine. I'm going to keep on pushing, because that's what we do. People like me, that's what I'm built for. This is my story. I'm Charles Dudley.
My name is Mike, and this is my story. The story starts with a pretty good childhood. Parents, younger brother, younger sister. We were pretty lucky and didn't have to struggle financially. My maternal grandmother was always there for us as a constant reminder of love and compassion, and treated us like her own kids. Vacations, holidays, birthdays, everything. When I got into high school, I got very sick. By this time, it became apparent that I was getting the same kind of health problems that were affecting my mom's side of the family. Food allergies, crippling intestinal problems, and eventually internal bleeding. My grandmother soon passed away from digestive ulcer, internal bleeding complications after about a 6-month hospital stay, and my mom had been periodically experiencing the same problems, and now I was. This terrified me for a long time. Before I was able to start treatment, it was getting progressively worse, and I could feel my health failing. I was losing weight at an alarming rate, and I felt really bad most of the time. My diet of safe foods was getting smaller and smaller every other month, and this ongoing condition made school and a social life increasingly difficult. I started an experimental treatment called EPD that we had to get illegally imported from Canada. This treatment essentially reprograms the immune system over time while you take a ridiculous amount of pills. But for certain cycles, you have to stay isolated from the environment, almost like Bubble Boy. There was a point where I was so sick so much of the time that I did not expect to see my 18th birthday. I never played extracurricular activities or was any part of any clubs because I was so sick. I just had my Dungeons and Dragons buddies, and even making it to some of those games was difficult when I would get incapacitated for hours at a time. About halfway through senior year, I started to see some progress with the treatment. I had my 18th birthday, and then about 6 months later, I graduated high school and had no concept of what to do now. I spent so much time being sick and grudgingly taking it one day at a time. I had no idea what to try to do for a living now that I was going to be alive. I had no concept of what was going to make me happy. I went to college in the mid-early 2000s and eventually settled on being a teacher like my parents before me. But the physical demands, the lack of sleep, the stress and everything was too much for me to handle, and I had a few health scares like when I was younger. I finished my degree, but I completely walked away from teaching. I worked some retail, met the right woman, and got an opportunity to get into the budding Michigan medical marijuana program. It seemed like an opportunity to settle down and be happy. And this was probably the first time in my life that I had some hard lessons about adult responsibility. My folks always helped me out with homework, but didn't really teach me a whole lot about life besides that. On the plus side, I was able to find out how much medical cannabis can help bowel inflammation, so that's a good thing. Well, fast forward a little bit, after the eviction, my girl and I had to move into my dad's house and brought some debt with us. At this time, I had another health scare for about the first 6 months after moving back in, and I tried working odd jobs when I could, and I even started up a roofing business with an older friend that I met from my last career. When my friend Todd first taught me some carpentry skills like painting, roofing, general home repair, he taught me a lot about how to be a man and take pride in your labor and sweat, while learning some practical skills for what seemed like really the first time in my life. There was a certain point where we couldn't find any decent workers for the roofing business. Mostly unreliable crackheads that ended up costing us more money than they were worth, and it was a nightmare. We couldn't afford the insurance anymore, and our subcontractors screwed us out of a lot of money. And long story short, this was around the time I decided to go back to college. Heck, before I went into medical marijuana, I was getting really into writing science fiction and comedy, and now things seem to be coming full circle. I enrolled in the Media Arts and Technology program at Mott Community College in the winter of 2018.